Chosen one, this message is not arriving by chance. It comes with quiet urgency, the kind that settles deep in your spirit before your mind can explain it. You have sensed it already, a subtle resistance inside you when a certain man draws closer, speaks louder, or presses for access. God is asking you to pause, to listen beyond words, and to recognize that discernment is one of the highest forms of protection. This is not about fear, suspicion, or accusation. This is about wisdom. When God values a destiny, He guards it. When He is preparing elevation, He sharpens awareness. What you are feeling is not confusion, it is instruction. Before anything significant unfolds in the life of a chosen one, God often highlights what must not follow into the next season. Promotion does not only come with open doors, it also comes with closed ones. The mistake many make is assuming every friendly presence is permitted access. Yet history, both sacred and human, shows a consistent pattern. Pivotal callings were delayed, wounded, or detoured because warnings were ignored. God speaks early because damage avoided is better than damage healed. If this message feels personal, it is because divine care is personal. This warning is not about labeling someone as evil. It is about recognizing spiritual misalignment. A person does not need to be hostile to be harmful. Some distractions arrive as support. Some delays arrive as relationships. Some detours arrive as opportunities that feel right but quietly pull you off course. This man may appear helpful, insightful, or deeply interested in your journey. He may speak the right language, show admiration, or present himself as a bridge to something you desire. Yet, beneath all of that, his presence drains clarity, weakens peace, or presses you to move faster than wisdom allows. God often reveals danger through loss of peace, not dramatic signs. Your spirit grows uneasy before your circumstances collapse. That inner restraint you feel is not hesitation, it is heaven's alert system. Discernment rarely shouts, it nudges, it slows you down, it asks you to watch patterns rather than promises. When God highlights a person, it is never to stir paranoia, but to sharpen perception. You are being trained to recognize what aligns with your assignment and what competes with it. The enemy does not always oppose destiny with resistance. Sometimes he uses redirection. He understands that if he cannot stop you outright, he can delay you subtly. This is why certain people show up when momentum increases. They seek proximity to insight, favor, or vision, not because they are evil in character, but because their spirit is drawn to what you carry. Access, when granted too early or too deeply, can dilute focus. God is protecting your time, your emotional energy, and your spiritual clarity. Consider how often those chosen for great impact were warned about association before advancement. The warning always came before the betrayal, before the compromise, before the loss. The purpose was never isolation, it was preservation. God knows what certain connections will cost you long-term, even when they offer short-term comfort. This is why obedience sometimes feels lonely before it feels rewarding. Separation precedes strengthening. You may feel pressure to explain yourself, to justify distance, or to soften boundaries so you do not appear unkind. Yet clarity does not require explanation. Obedience does not need approval. When God instructs restraint, He also provides covering. Silence can be wisdom. Distance can be love for your future. What you refuse now may protect what you are meant to carry later. This man may question your decisions subtly. He may frame concern as care, urgency as support, or access as loyalty. Pay attention to how you feel after interactions. Do you feel strengthened or unsettled? Focused or scattered? Peaceful or internally tense? Discernment speaks through results, not rhetoric. God trains His people to read fruit, not flattery. Chosen one, this warning is also confirmation of value. No one targets what carries no threat. No one studies what holds no promise.
The attention you are receiving is not random, it is responsive. You are approaching a level that requires sharper vision. God is teaching you to guard entrances to your life with intention. Emotional doors, spiritual doors, conversational doors. These determine what influences your direction. This season requires maturity. Maturity does not mean distrusting everyone. It means trusting God more than impulse. It means slowing responses, limiting disclosure, and allowing time to reveal truth. God reveals character through consistency. If something feels rushed, pressured, or emotionally demanding without peace, step back. Wisdom is patient.
Before moving forward, pause and ask yourself, who currently has access to your thoughts, your plans, your emotions? Who benefits most from being close to you right now? Who subtly resists your growth while appearing supportive? These questions are not meant to accuse, they are meant to clarify. Reflection is a spiritual discipline. If this message resonates, stay with it. Do not rush to act impulsively. Let discernment settle. Share this message with someone who needs clarity and remain here as we continue unfolding what God is revealing. In the next part, we will explore how spiritual conflict often works through people, how emotions can cloud discernment, and how to protect your destiny without hardening your heart. As you move deeper into understanding this warning, it becomes clear that spiritual conflict rarely announces itself in obvious ways. It often works through familiarity, emotional closeness, and repeated access. This is why discernment is not just about identifying danger, but about recognizing influence. Influence shapes decisions quietly. Over time, it redirects priorities, weakens conviction, and reshapes perception. God is alerting you now because influence, once normalized, becomes harder to challenge. One of the greatest tests for a chosen one is learning the difference between connection and assignment. Not everyone who understands you is meant to walk with you. Not everyone who listens deserves entry into your inner world. Some people are meant to encounter you briefly, receive something, and move on. When they linger beyond their season, imbalance begins. God is teaching you to release without guilt and to limit without apology. Emotions are powerful, but they are not reliable leaders. They respond to attention, validation, and familiarity. This man may appeal to empathy, shared experiences, or mutual struggles. He may position himself as someone who finally understands you. Yet understanding does not equal alignment. Many destinies were compromised not by hatred, but by misplaced loyalty. God's warning is not about rejecting compassion, it is about refusing emotional dependency that clouds judgment. Spiritual growth often requires restraint. Silence can be a weapon of wisdom. You do not owe everyone access to your vulnerabilities. Oversharing creates openings that should remain protected. When God is shaping something sacred in you, privacy becomes a form of honor. The more valuable the calling, the stronger the boundaries required to sustain it. Pay attention to how this man responds when you assert limits. Does he respect your pace, or does he push back emotionally? Does he encourage your spiritual discipline, or subtly compete with it? Does he celebrate your progress, or redirect conversations towards himself? Patterns reveal intent. Discernment matures when you stop explaining red flags away and start observing behavior consistently. God often uses discomfort as a signal, not a punishment. If you feel drained after interactions, it is not weakness, it is awareness forming. Your spirit recognizes imbalance before your mind can articulate it. That internal heaviness is not meant to be endured, it is meant to be acknowledged. God's peace is a guide, not a reward for endurance. Protection does not always look like escape. Sometimes it looks like distance without drama, reduced communication, delayed responses, limited emotional engagement. These are not acts of cruelty, they are acts of stewardship. You are responsible for what God has entrusted to you, including your clarity, your time, and your spiritual sensitivity.
This season is also about obedience over explanation. You may feel tempted to justify your actions so others understand your motives. Yet obedience often requires quiet confidence. God defends what He directs. You do not need to convince anyone when you are aligned with divine instruction. Silence keeps you focused. Clarity keeps you steady. Remember, God does not warn without providing strength to act. You are not being left to figure this out alone. Prayer sharpens perception. Stillness reveals truth. When you seek God consistently, confusion fades. The more you prioritize divine guidance, the less power external voices hold. This is also a season to examine what you desire. Sometimes distractions gain power because they attach themselves to unmet needs. Loneliness, ambition, validation, or impatience can make certain connections feel necessary. God is not shaming you for these needs. He is inviting you to bring them to Him first. Fulfillment found in God cannot be manipulated by people. Chosen one, you are not losing anything by obeying this warning. You are gaining protection, acceleration, and clarity. What God removes, He replaces with something pure. What He blocks, He does so with foresight. Trusting Him now prevents regret later.
Take a moment to reflect. What boundary is God asking you to strengthen? Where have you felt pressured to compromise peace for connection? Awareness is the first step toward freedom. Write it down if you need to. Pray over it. Do not rush resolution. Allow clarity to settle. If this message is helping you see more clearly, remain engaged. Share your reflections with those you trust and stay connected as we move forward. In the final part, we will focus on rising above this challenge, strengthening spiritual authority, and positioning yourself for the connections God has already prepared for you. Now that clarity has been restored, the final work is alignment. Discernment without action leaves doors partially open. God's warning reaches completion when you respond with decisive obedience. This is where many hesitate, not because they doubt God, but because separation can feel uncomfortable. Yet elevation always requires release. You are stepping into a phase where precision matters. Small compromises no longer remain small when purpose expands. Spiritual authority grows when you honor divine instruction quickly. Delay weakens resolve. Obedience strengthens confidence. When you act in alignment with God's guidance, something powerful happens internally. Fear loses its grip. Confusion dissolves. Peace returns as confirmation. This peace is not emotional relief, it is spiritual alignment settling into place. God is also teaching you to trust your spiritual maturity. You are no longer in a season where every lesson must come through pain. Wisdom allows you to avoid what once trapped you. Growth means you recognize danger early and choose differently. This is not withdrawal from people, it is advancement in discernment. You are learning to value your calling more than convenience. As you step away from what God has exposed, make room intentionally for what He is preparing. Healthy connections do not drain you, they strengthen you. They do not rush you, they respect your process. They do not compete with God's place in your life, they support it. Divine connections come with peace, mutual growth, and shared direction. You will recognize them not by intensity, but by consistency and respect. Use this season to deepen spiritual disciplines. Time spent in prayer refines perception. Worship realigns focus. Stillness sharpens hearing. The clearer your connection with God becomes, the less attractive distractions will appear. When your inner life is full, counterfeit connections lose appeal. This is also a moment to reaffirm your vision. Purpose acts as a filter. When you know where God is taking you, you become selective about who walks with you. Write your goals down, pray over them, commit them fully to God. Purpose clarifies priorities, and priorities protect destiny. Do not fear being misunderstood. Many will not understand boundaries that come from spiritual clarity. Their confusion is not your burden. God understands your obedience, and that is sufficient. He honors those who choose alignment over approval. Chosen one, this warning was never meant to produce fear, it was meant to produce strength. God intervened because your next level requires focus, peace, and protection. You are moving into a phase where distractions become costly. Divine awareness keeps you ahead, not anxious. As you move forward, remain attentive, not suspicious, but spiritually alert. Wisdom keeps watch without worry. Trust keeps you steady without fear. God is guiding your steps with intention. You are not alone in this process. If this message confirmed something you already sensed, take action today. Set the boundary, create the distance, choose peace. Obedience today becomes testimony tomorrow. If this message spoke to your spirit, support the work by sharing it with someone who needs clarity. Stay connected to the chosen star, where faith, discernment, and purpose meet. Together, we grow stronger, wiser, and more aligned with God's will. You are protected, you are guided, you are advancing. Remain obedient and watch how God continues to order your steps with precision and care.